I've been getting this question a lot. Where do I put my savings without watching it lose money by inflation? It's a fair question, especially when everything from eggs to gas seems to go up every month. So today's video is all about high old savings accounts, or HEISAs. They're simple. Saving might be one of the easiest ways to actually grow your savings above inflation. Give me 10 minutes and I'll break down the benefits, drawbacks, and the best accounts available today. Back when I was still teaching, I had all my savings sitting in one of these big name banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America, and most likely you might even have an account with one of them. So why did I keep my money there? Well, it's because my parents did it, my friends did it, and my colleagues also did it. So I figured that this was pretty much the right thing to do. But after looking at my account this one year, I noticed that I only made $1.87 in interest. I remember looking at my statement and saying, that's not even enough for a small boba. Meanwhile, my little sixth graders were making so much more money selling candy bars during lunch. And that's when it clicked. I wasn't the problem, my savings weren't the problem where my savings were, that was the problem. So I moved my 20-something thousand dollars worth of savings into a high old savings account. And by the end of the year, I had earned over $400 just letting my money sit in there. And with rates higher right now, I would be making around $700 to $800 of interest, which is way higher than $1.87. This small switch taught me something huge. Sometimes the easiest wins come from just knowing where to put your money. So what's a high-yield savings account? Well, it's pretty much like a regular savings account, but kinda like on steroids. HEISA typically can earn 300 to 400 times more interest than a regular savings account that only gives you 0.01% interest. So instead of your emergency fund losing money to inflation, it's actually growing. And here's what I love. You can open more than one. A lot of my friends have one for vet bills, one for travel, and one for future health stuff. This basically means that they cover your money up to $250,000. So if the bank ever collapses, which let's be real, has happened in the past, your cash is still protected. Now, unlike stocks, the money that you put into a high set doesn't bounce up and down. There is no drama and no risk of losing your balance. Sure, the interest rate changes a bit depending on the market, but your balance doesn't go backwards unless you pull money from it. And this is really why I like to put my emergency fund into this type of account. I know it's boring, but really that's the point. So what's the best part? Typically, these accounts have no or low fees, meaning that you can keep whatever you earn, every last cent. Now, just to be clear, a high old savings account is not the same as a CD or a certificate of deposit. Rates can shift, but you're not locking your money away for, say, 12 months. It stays accessible, which matters when life throws a curveball, like an unexpected hospital bill or vet bill. Now remember, HEISAs are primarily used for short-term savings. I typically leave all my long-term money in either CDs or my retirement accounts, but for money that I need fast, that always goes into a high old savings account. Okay, so here's my teacher bit. HEISAs aren't the same as checking accounts. There's no swiping at Trader Joe's or Aldi, and there's no ATMs, and you usually have to transfer money out, which can take a day or two. So this isn't for daily spending. And honestly, that's a good thing, because hear me out, you want your emergency savings to be available, but not too available. I feel like if it's easy to swipe, it's easy to spend, and high-yield savings accounts are like fire alarms. You only want to break it just in case of an emergency. Alright, let's get into the actual accounts, starting with one of my personal favorites. Right now, number one is Live Oak Bank. I love a good restaurant recommendation from friends and family. But when it's my money we're talking about, I need more than a trust me. It's good. This is why I love checking legit reviews like Trustpilot, because I want to hear what real people are saying based on their own experience. Live Oak Bank has been around since the early 2000s. It's not ancient, not brand new, but something established enough to earn some trust. And this trust has been earned from groups like Bankrate, Wall Street Journals by Site, and NerdWallet. And I really don't think that you get that kind of love unless you're doing something right. And if you look on Trustpilot, it currently has a 4.6-star rating. And for a bank, that's incredibly impressive. Because if you look yourself on Google and you check these other big banks, they can barely break a 2. Which actually tells you something I've had friends tell me: don't put your money in an online bank because there's always some sort of cash. And for the longest time, I thought the same. But Live Oak Bank surprised me in a good way. Whether you've got $1 or $100,000, you earn the same 4.4% APY. There are no gimmicks, no weird things in the small prints, no hidden fees, and no maintenance fees. And as someone who works for myself, when they say 90% of support calls are resolved in under a minute, that really impresses me and gets my attention. So look, I'm not here to tell you what to do, I'm just here to show you the options. If you need full-service banking, Live Oak Bank is probably not for you. But if you want a clean focused savings setup, this is probably one of the best. Next on the list is CIT Bank. With this bank, there are a lot of smart features and it's pretty dependable. And yes, this is also FDIC insured like the others, and your money is still protected up to $250,000. So yes, you do need $100 to open this account, but to be honest, $100 isn't really that big of an amount. This is probably less than what most people spend on Uber Eats and coffee in a week. So with that $100, it starts you with a 0.25% APY. It's not really that big, but it's still much better than a 0.01% APY from Chase or Bank of America. Right now, if you're looking for a one-bank-fits-all, setup with solid mobile access and everything under one roof, CIT has the advantage over Live Oak Bank. There are no activation fees or no monthly service charges like it should be, but you'd be surprised by how many banks there are out there that would try to sneak this in. Now this is where it earns its name, Platinum Savings Account. At $5,000 saved, this account levels up and you start earning 4.1% APY. Next up is an account with great rates and a brand that everyone recognizes. Number 3 is Barclays, and this is probably the most familiar name here. Right now, Barclays is offering 4.1% APY. It's competitive, consistent, and has a very quick application process for this. There are no minimum balances and no monthly fees, and Barclays matches CIT Bank's Tier 2 rate without needing you to have that $5,000. And if you put in more than $250,000 into Barclays, they'll bump you up into an enhanced rate of 4.3%. Now remember, a high-yield savings account is usually for emergencies, and it's not a retirement plan. However, this would be great for people who want to buy a home in the near future and want a place to safely park their money while it grows with higher interest. No. 4 is Axos Bank. And if you're a small business owner, they actually have a high-interest business savings accounts. There are no minimum deposits, no monthly fees, and no balance requirements for this account. You get a 3.8% APY, and it's also, of course, FDIC insured. One of the perks for this account is that all incoming wires, both domestic and international, are actually free. And if you want a personal savings account, Access offers one that gives you 4.66% APY with access to over 95,000 fee-free ATMs. And like before, there are no minimum balance fees, no minimum deposits, and no overdraft fees. So here are some honorable mentions, and I know that not everyone is chasing the absolute best APY. There are a lot of people who just want access to a branch, or they want a brand that they trust, or a banking app that has an easy-to-use interface. So here's the short list. I lean towards options like Live Oak, CIT, Barclays, and Axos. But these next few are still solid picks, especially if you're the kind of person who values simplicity, stability, or walking into a branch when needed. Capital One. 3. 60 Performance Savings has the best of both worlds. You can actually walk into a branch, talk to someone face-to-face, and still earn solid interest. It's not flashy, but it's stable, user-friendly, and has a great bridge between traditional and digital banking. Next is the American Express High Yield Savings Account. If you're an Amex user like myself and you want to save with banking nobility, the Amex High Yield Savings Accounts might be for you. It currently offers 3.7% APY and is backed by one of the biggest names in finance. It's also, of course, FDIC insured, with no fee to open, no minimum deposit, and no monthly fees. Next is Ally, and if you like the idea of one account with multiple buckets, Ally actually does this very well. You can separate savings categories for things like vet bills, vacations, and house stuff. This is a great option if you want to stay organized without managing a whole bunch of different accounts and passwords. Next is Discover. It's simple, reliable, and it's pretty easy to set up. It currently gives a 3.6% APY with no fees attached. Honestly, there are a ton of great high-yield savings accounts out there. Some of them which I didn't even talk about, like Wealthfronts, Genius, and maybe even Sophie. The whole point of this video is to make sure that you get one so these big banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America don't take advantage of you. My general guideline is to choose a high-yield savings account that currently has more than 3.5% APY, doesn't have these strange fees, and has good customer support. Again, I'll leave the updated high-yield savings account list down below, where some of them might even give you a sign-up bonus right now. And if you want to hear my honest advice on how to reach financial freedom, I would watch this video next.